Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, we're doing a high ticket sales role play. Sasha here is going to be playing the closer of an offer that helps salespeople who are outside of the high ticket space, like door-to-door reps, tech sales, insurance, actually break into the high ticket sales space and land roles. And Ahmet is going to be the prospect who's considering getting into high ticket sales. So in this role play, we're going to go through the entire discovery portion of the call so that you can see the common mistakes that high ticket closers tend to make and how somebody who has sold over 100 million in high ticket sales would navigate a discovery. This is not going to be the most advanced version of this because Lord knows that would take days to go through, but it will be just the simple basics to make sure that we at least cover these. And if you do, you're probably going to do fairly well for yourself in sales. The main reason why we focus so much on the discovery inside of role plays is the discovery is really the make it or break moment of your sales call. Discovery, future pace, cost of inaction, all that stuff is meant to get somebody sold on the idea of not continuing what they have been doing and making some sort of change. And then the pitch onward is about presenting a new change that they could make and selling them on that future decision, right? So we're taking everything up until this point in their lives and selling somebody on the idea that they need to do something different. That's all the front portion of the call is about. So that's where your prospects really decide if they're going to change what they're doing and make some sort of purchasing decision, whether it's with you or somebody else or not, right? And it really sets you up well for the pitch anyway. So Sasha, start us off with how you would usually start your discovery. Let's dive in.
Awesome. Ahmet, what is the biggest reason you're transitioning into remote high ticket sales right now?
So I'm in currently door-to-door solar sales, and the fact that my sales role is being door-to-door is the main reason I want to transition into high ticket sales.
Cool. Pause. How good was that answer that he gave you, Sasha?
Brief,
Okay, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that was the best answer he could have ever given you, 1 being it was shit. Where was it?
I'd say a 3.
3. Okay. If people don't give you the answers that you want them to give you, step number 1 is asking better questions in better ways. So looking back on your first question, did you really put effort into that? Or did you just kind of like say it? Because like, here we go, let's start this video.
It's a good way of putting it.
All right, ask it again. Put some effort into it. Better questions equal better answers.
Okay. So, Ahmet, currently, what is the biggest reason you're looking to transition into remote high ticket sales right now?
So I'm a door-to-door solar sales rep, and I've been doing that for a while, and I just don't like doing door-to-door sales. Like it's very tiring. So that's why I'm looking to transition into a remote type of sales role.
Okay. Hiring, like, how do you mean by that?
So tiring in the way of like knocking doors 8 hours a day, all weekdays long, and like just being outside, getting rejected. So that's very tiring.
Okay. So knocking doors 8 hours a day and the constant rejection you feel like is tiring.
Yeah, because it's very, very cold leads. And from now on, I feel like the solar sales is like everyone knows you're selling solar. So it's not like a warm lead at all, especially when you're doing door to door. And I live in Germany, it's really cold outside. So when you're knocking doors 8 months of the year, it's like not the best sales role you want to be in.
Cool. Let's pause there. You said understood, Sasha, when he said that it's tiring. Do you really understand?
No, not until you ask them to clarify what they actually mean by tiring.
Then don't say understood. This is a huge thing for a ton of people is we have these linguistic habits to just say something after somebody else says something to gain agreement, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, because it's a habit, it means you will often do it when you don't mean to, or when it doesn't actually serve the purpose that you want it to serve, right? So be very careful when somebody says something and they give you some information like, man, this is just really tiring, being outside all day and getting rejected. I don't understand that at all, right? So I need to ask questions about things. I'm going to say, what do you mean by being outside and getting rejected all day is tiring to you? Like, why that word specifically, right? I want to understand what's causing things. So let's go back to there. Let's say, we just asked that question, Ahmet, and pick it up from there. Like, what is it about being outside all day and getting quote unquote rejected that's like tiring to you?
Yeah, so what I heard is in like high ticket sales, you take 45-minute calls, kind of like this one. It's a bit more of an inbound prospect. They kind of at least know what they kind of want to buy. But in like solar sales, number one, you're not taking 8 calls, 8 people per day. It's like per hour, you want to do like at least 20, 30 doors because 20 of them are not going to open up at all. So it's that constant movement like this and feeling like you're entering other people's personal space. Sometimes there's dogs, like they chase you. It happened 2 days ago. And that's the tiring part of it. Like it's just you're in other people's personal space. You constantly get rejected because you're kind of there. And also you're literally physically moving 8 hours a day. So I don't need to do cardio.
Mhm. Where do you feel like that's affected you the most?
So
Pause.
one thing is,
That's a very telegraphed question, especially if you're talking to salespeople, right? Where do you feel that's affected you the most? Not necessarily like the worst question to ask at some point in the conversation. Like, I understand what you're going for, but this person probably does too. And that's probably not going to end up very well, right? So, very small change. I know that you know this question, Sasha, but just use it here. Like, what's the significance of that to you? Or, like, why is that important to you? Or, uh, there's a lot of different things that we could do. He kind of answered the question, but he also didn't really answer the question. So I probably wouldn't even ask that. I would go back into making sure that he answers the question. Like, okay, so you're talking to a lot of people. Why do you feel like that's so tiring? Like, what is it about talking to 8 people an hour for 8 hours a day is tiring to you? Like, some people would love to do that for a living. Does that make sense? Do
Yeah.
we still don't quite understand why it was tiring? And he didn't answer at all why it was tiring. He mentioned, what did you mention earlier? It was being outside all day, and then it was something else
being outside all day, getting into people's personal space, their home kind of like, and
before that.
also talking to people who are not interested yet. In high ticket sales, there's people who are more
There
interested.
we go. Cool. So then that probably also plays into it. So let's go back. Sasha, just re-ask him the question because we still don't fully understand.
Okay. So I'm at what in specific is tiring about speaking to people, like people all day long and having to walk door to door and hit countless doors?
Yeah, so I guess there's two parts to it. The first part is like the physical part. It's like I walk outside pretty much winter, summer, 8 hours a day, all day long. And I feel like the emotional part is more in solar sales because it's like everybody's doing it now. Like 2 years ago, it wasn't like this. But right now, like people know what you're selling kind of like the second they see you. And the negativity is too so much in solar sales nowadays. That's what I've been feeling like for the last couple of months.
Okay. What's the significance of the physical intensity of it, as well as the emotional, like you said, like people know what you're selling and the negativity that comes with it?
Yeah, so the physical one is don't know why, but I feel like I have a weak immune system, so I get sick a lot throughout the winter. And big reason why, because I'm outside 8 hours a day, every single day knocking doors. So from a health standpoint, I feel like if I was a high ticket closer, I'll be at home, not getting sick 7 times throughout the winter. Yeah.
So because you're
Pause.
working outdoors,
I was wondering if you catch it. So he said he gets sick 6, 7 times throughout the winter. Interesting. What do you consider the winter? Is it like November through February? Like what is the winter time? Okay, so 6, 7 times throughout that, you're getting sick twice a month. That's every 2 weeks. How long are you sick for when you do get sick? What kind of sickness is it? Like I want to paint the picture, right? Get him back in the moment. one of the biggest keys with sales and what will unlock the most for you is getting tangible about re-experiencing whatever it is that they experienced before and whatever it is that they want to experience in their life. There's a concept from a guy named Neville Goddard, fantastic dude, very big in the woo-woo space. Uh, and he talks about this idea of feeling of the wish fulfilled. You want to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, so that this thing that you really want in your life, let's say it's, to relax on a beach, whatever. I want you to actually feel that way right now. Like close your eyes, look in front of you, see the water, right? Feel the spray of the sea, feel the warmth of the sun coming down off you, feel the sand between your toes. Like the more that you can bring that into a sales call, the more effective it's going to be. And the same is true for the pain. If we're able to take a look at this, he hates getting sick so much in the winter and it has a big toll on his body. Need to get him to re-experience that pain in his body. Where do you feel the most pain? Is it back? Is it feet? Like, how does that have an effect when you finish selling for the day? Like, we haven't even gotten into any of that yet. We probably will. And then when he talks about how he's sick all the time, like, what happens when you get sick? What kind of sickness? Is it like sinus shit? Is it congestion, chest congestion and phlegm? Is it like headaches? What does that feel like? Scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? You know, are you in a relationship at all? Or is it just you at home? Like, is that affecting your relationship with the other person at all? Like, there's so many things that can come from like this one little bit. But the most important thing out of all of this is just getting him to re-experience it as if it's happening right now. Does that make sense? Because it is. Cool.
Gotcha.
All right, let's go back. Ahmet, say that you say what you just said, getting sick 6 or 7 times throughout the winter.
Yeah, so honestly, one of the things that takes a toll on my health is like in the winter, I get sick pretty often, maybe like 6, 7 times per year in the winter. And like knocking doors outside when you're sick, it's like the worst thing in the world.
Oh, what do you consider the winter in Germany?
End of October to like March.
Okay. So October, November, December, January, February, March. So you're
Kind
getting
of
sick
5 months,
almost once a month.
probably a bit more than that. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of sicknesses are you getting on a monthly basis?
So I cough a lot and then I basically get cold, right? So I sometimes have fever, sometimes a little headache. It's not something very specific, but like mood is down, energy is down. If you have fever, it's like you can't even think straight, but you still gotta knock the doors. But you also don't make a lot of money when knocking the doors because it's kind of winter, you know.
Okay. So these sicknesses affect your chest as well as your mood and your energy. So when you're sick, are you still knocking on doors?
Yeah, I had to.
Okay. So are you missing any time at all while you're sick once a month?
Do you mean like taking time off?
Correct.
If it's very bad, sure, but like I have to keep going because that's my only source of income.
Okay. So last winter, how many days did you miss because you were sick from knocking doors?
I
Pause.
probably
I don't know if we're going down the right path there for that one because he says he's like mostly working while he's doing it. And if he's in solar sales in the winter, you can also kind of put 2 and 2 together. Like it's probably not the best season for sales. So it's probably not going to create the biggest gap for him. Talking about how many days that he missed working solar sales in the winter in Germany. Right? Versus if he had said it in the summer, maybe. So you were kind of going down the right path. And then he said, like, he has to. I would be interested to now go down that route. Like, what do you mean you have to? Right. And then just make sure that you're writing notes throughout so that you can keep track of the things that you've gone down versus the things that you haven't. I'm just like going off of memory here. But he did mention some other things within there that we'd probably want to come back to. But since he gave you the money topic, go for it. Like, some people get weird about money. And so if you get the opportunity to like go down that path, I typically feel like you may as well just handle it there because that's going to be the most natural part of this conversation to do it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm at say what you said again about, you're getting sick, but you kind of still have to go out.
Yeah, so I'm probably like sick 20, 30 days out of the winter. And like 5, 6 days I can probably take off because it's kind of bad. And also in Germany, they give you that ability, but like in sales, if you don't close deals, like you don't get paid. So like I don't even want to take the time off, but I kind of have to because of my health. But yeah, like that, I have to take the time off sometimes, but I don't want to because I'm not even making the money that I want there. So like if I take time off, like I'm not gonna make anything then.
Okay. So if you were to take time off, you'd be losing money. So what are you making right now on a monthly basis with solar in the winter?
So it changes massively. It's like a very seasonal thing. It's been times where I've made a 10K plus in a month in the summer, but in the winter, in the worst months, it goes down into like 2K, 2.5K. But on average, it's like 2 to 4K during the winter. And then when it's hot outside for like a couple of months in the summer, it's like 7 to 10K.
Okay. Last month, what did you make in solar?
So last month was March. We're in April. So I probably made like, let me check, 3.2K.
Okay. And what did you make in February?
A bit less, I think 2.8, because also February is kind of a bit shorter month.
Okay. Any other reason why?
Colder, so that's why.
Okay. So 3.2 in March, 2.8 in February. What did you make in January?
I can check that for you. I think I made a bit more in March. Sorry, in January, around like 4K. We had like a new relegation coming in, which gave some money to the people who were lending some like solar panels. So we made a bit more then.
Okay. So you made 3.2, 2.8, and 4K. So what do you usually make in the summer?
So what I usually make in the summer would be, I'll just tell you last summer. So in May, June, July, August, those are like the 4 months I can consider summer. I think I make like 7 to 10, like 7, 8, 10, 7, along those lines.
Okay. So more than a almost 50% decrease in what you're making in the summer to what you're making in the winter.
For sure. Probably more than that.
And sorry, Christian, where would you go from here?
It's a good question. Uh, so you've got kind of what he makes at different parts of the year. I still haven't really found out how long that's been happening. So generally, we're doing a couple of things at this part of the discovery. When you're going into money with people, you are establishing a gap and you're figuring out like what their current situation is, where they're at, what sort of fluctuation there is, what the problems are with their money. Do they not make enough of it? Is it inconsistent? Is it, is the work not worth the amount of money that they make? A couple of different things. But you're also doing a financial qualification for later on in the call. So I want to know, okay, so you made 7, 8, 10, and 7. That's what is that? 32 grand over the course of the summer. And then you're averaging anywhere from like 2 to 4K per month the rest of the year. Is that right? Okay, got it. So say average of 3K a month for the other 8 months out of the year. That's 24K plus the 32. So last year, did you bring in somewhere around 56 grand or how much did you make last year? And he'll give you how much he made. Okay, got it. And how many years has that been the case? Right? Then we get a little bit of, maybe he just got into solar last year. Maybe he was doing something else before. What were you doing before? How much were you making there? Blah, 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 blah. How much, how far does that actually go in Germany? I don't live in Germany. I don't know what like the living costs are or anything like that. We didn't even clarify, is he talking euros or is he talking USD as well? Like in Germany, probably using euros or whatever it is. I don't know. Does Germany use euros? Nice.
Yeah, but like euros and dollars pretty similar.
Yeah, they're fairly similar. It's like 1.2 to 1. But still, like details. So, um, I would go through that, make sure that you get the qualification there. And then once you open up the conversation of like how far does 2 grand a month go in Germany, it's probably not that far. And that then opens up again, like, okay, got it. So you're coming home from work for the day, exhausted, cold, sick, and you don't actually make very much for where you live in the world. Like, what's going on? Like, why are you still doing this? How long have you been doing this? Why haven't you actually made any sort of changes with that? What's been the journey up until this point? What brought you across us, right? So you pointed out all of like these problems that are fairly logical, right? And then you lead them down the path of like, why are you really looking to make a change? What attracted you? You know, we go through the 5 pillars, all that kind of good stuff. And then that will open you up to the emotional part.